So I'm getting ready for the gym right now, but I have to make this intro video because I lied to you guys. And I'm so sorry. I ended episode 2 saying I was going to get into the rule changes and how people can offer rule changes after the loss and do a whole entire thing with NCAA. And then I was like, oh my God, I really want to talk about the money instead. So I'm going to talk about the rule changes when the rules kind of get approved and not approved later on in the year. This episode 3, is talking about the money. Who has it? How do you make it? Where the hell is it going? So, hope you guys enjoy. Sorry, but here we are, episode 3. Boom.
Welcome back to the Dear Lacrosse pod. Honestly, this has been too much fun. Just absolutely too much fun. I'm having more fun than I should. And now I'm just finding new spots to do stuff. I upgraded. Look at me. I got a mic in my unofficially official. I think that's kind of been my slogan, at least. I'm definitely unofficially official with my new podcast mic. This is episode 3. I want to talk about the money and how you can make money in this sport on top of who is controlling majority of the money when it comes to the higher ups. Last episode, obviously, we're just talking about where the hell women's lacrosse is going. This episode, I do want to start putting out some numbers. Let's get into it. How to market yourself. I feel like the only way to do remotely successful in this sport is learning how to market yourself. You kind of have to have a skill set that can translate into a product and then some type of business mindset. If you look at any pro, nobody's solely getting paid just to play their sport. And the ones that are doing super successful, let's just look at the ones that are doing super successful have their own brand and learn how to market themselves. On top of that, I feel like we don't have our pro leagues don't necessarily market all the players. For example, if I'm looking at NFL, I make it to the NFL, I'm a nobody, I go from some random D3 school, blah. You make it to the NFL, they start blasting you and pumping you, and you start getting some type of viewership and traction towards your personal brand. Here, it's very hard. I feel like you really have to grind solo to start building up your personal brand, and then maybe somebody of power can sit here and do some business with you. But I feel like personal branding is just super self-oriented and self-driven, and it's a great way. And NIL, the fact that we have NIL now, we can market ourselves a completely different way in college. Man, the college game is going to make more money than any other pro league ever. College in general for all sports across the board, NCAA makes so much money. If you can stay in college for as long as you can and play for as long as you can in college, do it, because you're going to make more money in college and have more resources in college and more all the things in college than you ever would as a pro. And at the pro salary, you're not going to be able to live off playing. You have to coach. You have to own something. You have to run something. Again, all the successful pros that are considered successful have their own brand, whether that's an app, whether that's an event, whether it is a product and skill sets, owning club teams, owning tournaments, owning this, partnering with somebody. It's a very small niche group to kind of get in with, and once you find your circle to do business with, you don't really see people deviate outside their circle. Like I said, if you don't market yourself and make people want to do or have the things you have, it's really hard to make money in this sport. What are you going to do? Freaking give lessons for all the hours in your day? Yeah, you can make good hourly money and you're moving hundreds, but you're not really moving thousands. You're moving 2-0s, not 3s. And you can only max out your time for so much. Gym people have the same exact issue. You can't sit here and personal train all these people, and there's freaking bugs. But you can't sit here and have all the hours to personally train all these people. They have maybe select clientele that pays them a good amount of money to buy up their time, but you only have so many hours in a day and so many hours in a day in a week. You kind of max out when you do private sessions all the time, unless these private clients are making big bucks. I got super over this private session thing. I started going into monthly payments and just bundling my whole entire just coaching holistic philosophy into it. I was tired of waiting for my next paycheck, and I didn't know how much money I was making the next month. Now that I have people paying monthly fees, and I'm not really going to get into my business completely, but now people are paying at a monthly basis or a 3-month commitment or just more consistent upfront money. That helps. And I do clinics in conjunction to my travel. My clinics really don't make me my money. They're great marketing for my private clientele. So I kind of combined a lot of my fitness and gym culture business knowledge into my lacrosse training. But not saying people should do that, but that's just what I chose for my product and skill set to make a business. And I think it's been pretty successful. I think I do well enough to be talking about this. Anyone else have any comments on whether or not it's easy to make money in lacrosse? Because you're not really going to be making it from playing, so like how else are you going to make it? I think next steps is definitely in holding a tournament, but it's so saturated. Like, we have so much saturation in our sport. Everybody and their mothers are trying to do pro clinics, or everybody and their mothers are trying to do a tournament. Now we have sixes that has just like completely changed the game and how we function as a business sport. Now we have sixes this, sixes that, and then we have full field this. Do we even do full field that anymore? Who the hell knows? But it's hard to make good money. Club owners, like the big ones with salaries and job positions, they eat up all these other small club teams and try to monopolize things. Those people make decent money. Also, at the end of the day, if I'm looking at women's lacrosse as a whole, majority of like the big woman-powered companies are still generally mostly owned by men. They say like these big club teams are most likely, I'm going to say, you can quote me on this too, 8 out of 10 times it's probably some dad that was pretty good at business, had a job before this, got into the game because of his daughter, and was like, I can literally do this for a living, but I don't really need to because I already make money from my actual job, but now I'm going to retire because I don't really need the money, and then I'm just going to ball out with this club lacrosse thing. So that's definitely a thing. I would say the people I fight with the most in my coaching world are dads. I'm not even going to lie. Not even men that play lacrosse, not even moms, not like literally just a Joe Schmo freaking US lacrosse level 2 certified, God knows what, something signed up. I went to LaxCon coach is the only dude I'm fighting with, or the only coach I'm really fighting with. It's crazy, especially in Florida. It's nuts. I think it's safe to say that lacrosse is a pretty affluent sport. Like, you need money to play it, or it's a pretty expensive startup cost. The club fees, travel fees, tournaments, the whole entire shebang is not a cheap sport. But I also think it's safe to say that we're not necessarily a country club sport. Like, there's way more expensive sports than lacrosse. I'm going to look at gymnastics and, I don't know, golf and those types of individual sports is just a whole different ball game. I think our sport hits, like, upper middle class and, like, obviously the elites in a somewhat Ivy League standpoint, but all in general, I don't think we are, like, the super posh, like, cardigan sweater type thing. So, anywho, let me get some numbers. To just play Farmer Lax, whatever the hell his name is, on TikTok and YouTube, he did like a nice little breakdown on pro salary, and we're going to just go over like the men's salary, because if the men aren't making money, the women aren't making money, so that's just that. So if I'm like just to play, the average NLL player is about making $20K, and I would say the average PLL player is making about $35K. They also have some health insurance and stock options to be a part of, so that's a plus, that's a perk. But you can't like go out and go buy lacrosse stock. Like, you have to be an accredited source, but not the point. Anyway, and I would say average is about like $10K in sponsorships and endorsements. So give or take, and I want to say that like this is my issue with a lot of lacrosse, is that a lot of things are not public knowledge. If I look up any other athlete in any other sport, I can go find their salary. If I look up Steph Curry or LeBron James or Candace Parker or Serena Williams or Caitlin Clark, we can sit here and look at their salary and net worth and how much they're getting paid and yada. It is so hard to do that with lacrosse. Like, you really can't do it. So really, to like just be a player, you're making about $65,000 a year just playing. Now, if we're looking at other sports, I'm going to use football for example. They do clinics and do camps, but it's like volunteer work. It's like for their foundation, and it's for the greater good of what they do. As a lacrosse player / pro, you have to do camps. You have to coach. Like, you really, like, you don't just get to play. So that can, depending on how, again, that's where like the personal marketing and branding, and like, you can either be a person that gets invited to these camps and clinics to come coach, or you can be the person that runs camps and clinics to come coach. So like, pick your poison. Also, so that's just numbers. That's just like playing lacrosse as a living as a male. I would assume females, like, my first salary was like a $10K minimum, and then you kind of just go from there. So I'm interested to see the new salary breakups and what female athletes are getting paid right now for our game. Do they get stock and insurance? I'm interested to see all that. But also, like, the PLL is not the end-all be-all of like who has all the money in our league. Like, I would use like IWLCA, IMLCA, like what we're making off of that. Tournaments are what? President's Cup, let me see. President's Cup was about $2,400 a team. Initial deposit was $600. There's a minimum of 500 teams there. You do the math, that's like generating like $1 million. I don't really like gross. So there's money. I'm interested to see what they do for pro women's lacrosse, if they have any part of it. I know that coaches had to pay for the coaches convention, so like it's just like money on money on money. So like that's another thing. US Lacrosse nonprofit. You gotta pay like a membership fee. I feel like they allocate their money a lot. They do a lot for the game, so I don't have no shade on them so much. How they move, yeah, I got some questionable things to say about that, but I think their like purpose makes sense. Like, you need a governing body. I just don't know who really is a true governing body, because is it like the PLL, or is it IWLCA, or is it US Lacrosse? Are they all working together? I hope so. That would make sense, but I don't really think so. Or there's something cooking. I'm not sure. But there's a lot of people that make money in this sport. A lot of entities. So, and it's not playing. I think we all know that US Lacrosse just makes a stupid amount of money, obviously, with the membership fees and all the other stuff they make you guys pay for. They do offer a lot, like insurance. I use that for like my clubs. So, like, that's cool. All that stuff is cool. It comes with perks. They function. But again, for making money off of our sport, or a sport, like, you are better off just working for the like powers. You know, like, you might as well just like drink the Kool-Aid and like work for all these people, because you're gonna be making a better salary just like working rather than just playing or even reffing. Because if I'm looking at US Lacrosse salaries, like being a creative manager, it's about $45,000 to $79,000. So that's like equivalent to playing every single season or reffing every single season, right? But if you're like VP marketing and communications, you make from like $95,000 to like $177,000. Like, you can live off that in this economy. I guess you can live off like over $150,000. That makes sense. But I don't think you can live off, like, refs make about like $40,000 a college season. So that's good money for like that time. It's about like $350 a game. So it's good money for like that time frame, but like for a job, to be a collegiate lacrosse ref making $40,000 a year, that's not really livable. You are better off being an NBA mascot for like the same amount of money. You know who makes more money? Is the freaking floor cleaners. They make like $80,000. It's crazy. What other mascots? The freaking Hornets, $100,000. Harry the Hawk, $600,000. Benny the Bull, $400,000. And now I'm just like comparing apples to oranges, but again, I just want to like prove a point. Like, no matter how you spin it, making a living just off this sport, you gotta have your hands in multiple things. They can't just be one or the other. You need, again, a skill set, a product, an event, something, or you have to work for these people, you know? So in conclusion, and like, I'm somebody, I guess, like, who tries to make money off of this sport, and I have my hands in a lot of things. But I just want to be completely transparent on the numbers and like how much money people are making. And unfortunately, like, we keep pushing this dream, and I want this dream to come true, is to make money and just play. Like, that makes sense. It's probably not going to be in my lifetime, but like, that dream does make sense. But I just don't know how people live off like $40,000. And you really have to have a passion to work in lacrosse. You have to have a passion for this sport. I absolutely love what I do, and I know I just been on this pod just like spewing out all this stuff, but I thoroughly enjoy what I do, and I'm always manifesting more and trying to get my hands in more and more and more and more. But there is no like really set job where you can like take off in lacrosse right now, where you could do a lot of different things in a bunch of different sports. Like, you can literally be like the ball person in tennis, or you can be like the freaking court sweeper in basketball and make more money than us busting our ass. So, I don't know. I feel like this is why you see a lot of like finance majors and business majors, and I don't know, a lot of people go to law school or do something and then some after college, because lacrosse was just their ticket to their education, or just like a bonus or like a perk. People didn't really see it for making money. And again, unless you're coaching college, and even then, some of those positions really aren't paid that well, with not many benefits, or a school that doesn't necessarily support a growth of a program. So I guess in the comments, how do you make money in lacrosse? What do you think is the best way? And where is it? Is it in the youth? Is it in the collegiate? Is it in certain type of positions? Like, where is the money, and how do you make it, and how long does it last? Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for listening. This is episode 3. See you guys next week.